نتلوها عليك بالحق وما الله يريد ظلما للعالمين ولله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وإلى الله ترجع الأمور كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله ولو آمن أهل الكتاب لكان خيرا لهم منهم المؤمنون وأكثرهم فاسقون لن يضروكم إلا أذى وإن يقاتلوكم يولوكم الأدبار ثم لا ينصرون ضربت عليهم الذلة أينما ثقفوا إلا بحبل من الله وحبل من الناس وباءوا بغضب من الله وضربت عليهم المسكنة ذلك بأنهم كانوا يكفرون بآيات الله ويقتلون الأنبياء بغير حق ذلك بما عصوا وكانوا يعتدون الله أكبر
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم. أما بعد أحييكم بتحية الإسلام وتحية الإسلام السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Our brother Abdullah he read a few verses about كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس. You are the best ummah that was brought to the mankind. The question is where we are right now. Today lecture is about the geopolitics. What is the geopolitics? Is what's going on in the world. Why these troubles are in the world for the last 2024, for the last year. Everybody experienced very troublesome world. Wars, atrocities, killing kids in Gaza, killing people in Palestine, destroying hospitals, destroying schools. So that's the geopolitics. The geopolitics is where the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is. That's the question we have to ask ourselves as Muslims, that do we have a role in this world like the Sahaba? And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the prophethood of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was also almost in the same world. The world was divided between the Persian and the Byzantine, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought a prophet that is distinguished between these two, in the middle of these two nations and superpower, and he gave him the leadership role to rule the world, and the Muslims, they ruled the world for 10 centuries. So, yeah, go ahead. Just run it. You need me? So one of the questions is that for the last half a century, the Western nation, they were sending us a message that we should have a dialogue of civilization. But what happened over the last year is that the Gaza disclosed them that they don't want the dialogue of civilization. They want the hegemony of the West on the Muslim Ummah. So let me take you back. So, and then we'll reach the third point where we talk about the role of the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the third alternative. The third alternative in a nutshell is that same thing, that what happened in the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba, they came, they found two superpowers, didn't follow neither the Byzantine, neither the Persian, and they went with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them to do, which is the spirituality overcome over the materialistic. So let's start. So what Gaza taught us for the last year is the fall of the Western global justice and the awakening of the world free conscience. And you saw that the last year, that how everybody is angry and everybody is upset about what's going on in the world, and why the superpower are backing the oppressor version, helping the oppressed ones. So the last year, everybody witnessed these dualities in the world. So we have, as a Muslim, from our angle, we see it that truth version falsehood and betrayal version support. We saw some Muslim community, Muslim country, they support the cause of Gaza, and some Muslim communities and some Muslim countries, they betrayed the cause of the Muslims, which is the Palestinian cause. And we see the bravery and the cowardice on the other side. So the bravery of the people of Gaza, how they are steadfast and how they are pushing back the enemy. And we saw the cowardice of some, not only the Muslim country, for not backing and supporting the right cause, also the cowardice of the world for not even saying a single word to stop the atrocities. So, and we see the Judaism, Muslims are very, sometimes they don't know what's going on, and they kept saying that our enemy is the Jews. Actually, our enemy is not the Jews. Our enemy is the Zionist. So you have to know how to differentiate between the Zionist agenda and the Jews. The Jews, they are people of religion like us, and they are described in the Quran. Now, the oppressed, they are Israel, and Israel is run by a Zionist agenda. So, and you see the virtues and the morals from one side, and you see the vices, the corruption, and the mischief from the other side. You see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, some leadership, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talk about their characteristics which he loves, and some characteristics that he doesn't love. We see the resistance versus the occupation. We see the act of South Africa standing in the justice against this atrocity and against the superpower version. We see the veto of the United States of not able even the superpower to say no to the oppressor and to stop the oppressor, while the whole world is calling for a ceasefire. So on the other side, in our Ummah, we saw the silent ulama and we saw the outspoken ulama. So some of the ulama that were expecting that they will say the truth and they will be outspoken, raising the issue of the Muslim, they were silent either by themselves, they silenced themselves, or they were silent by their own regimes. So this is one of the greatest thinker about the Muslim Ummah is Alija Izobevic, which is the former Bosnian president. He said that every power, every superpower will fall in the ethical side. When the ethical side falls, everything will come down. إنما الأمم الأخلاق ما بقيت فإنهم ذهبت أخلاقهم ذهبوا. The ethical side, that's exactly when you don't know how to differentiate between the oppressor and the oppressed. When you don't establish the justice, that means that you lost the ethical side value, and that's the beginning of the end of any super nation. That they think that they are superpowers, but when they fall on the ethical side, that's their beginning to the end. So I believe Gaza stands for a poignant messenger, awakening the world conscience and urging a significant course correction. What do we mean by Gaza message to the whole world is like the Imam he just read about Sidna Nuh, how Sidna Nuh was calling his son, Ya Buni arkab ma'ana, come and be with us. We are, as a Muslim Ummah, we are calling the world, come to the justice, come be with us. But they are not, it doesn't resonate in their ears that we are calling them for the truth, and we are calling the world, so the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not come to the world. And you are seeing these days some of this punishment with your own eyes, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will not leave this earth to the transgressor or to the oppressor. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always have a plan to come and help the oppressed and to establish justice in any shape or form. Gaza demonstrates the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the omnipresent and the earth belongs to Him. Secondly, there is no fear except from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all transgressors are doomed to failure. Thirdly, mischief and destruction on earth are not success. Some people, once you keep destroying and hospitals and schools and killing people left and right, doesn't mean that you are successful. Success is when you establish justice on earth. So the ethical of the resistance, I want to go through this few. The resistance shows that many ethical and this ethical are sifat, and they are described in the Quran. The patience, the tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the steadfastness and the resilience, and this talks about the hypocrisy and the standard of the West government and media, where they were not able to catch the justice element in this, what's happening in Palestine. So Malik ibn Nabi is one of the thinkers. He said that the values of Western nation do not travel beyond their territory. And you saw it, that in their territory they apply some rules, but for the other world, for the Muslim world, they apply a double standard. So, and this is it's a failure. This is a failure because you are not giving the humanity the same rule or the same way of measuring things. So the US has played the role of advocate for Israel in international forums, even going so far as to veto United Nations decree calling for ceasefire. So nobody expects from United States, the superpower of the world, to not even accept the ceasefire, accept the stopping of the killing of the kids and the women in Palestine and Gaza. And that's a total failure. So Norwegian Dr. Matt Gilbert highlights the stark contrast in reaction between the Western nation response to Russia war. So when it comes to Russia and Ukraine, they stand with Ukraine and they are against Russia. When it comes to Israel and Gaza, they stand with the oppressor against the oppressed. So you see how the double standard is very seen to everybody who has ears. And reason for the weakness of the Ummah. So many people, they ask why we are weak as a Ummah. It's very simple. We are weak because Rasul already described why we are weak. He said that one time the whole nation, all nations, they will come and they will make you, they will eat you, and they distribute the food between themselves. It's like you are a meal on the table. Everybody tried to eat al-wahan. You know what is al-wahan? And when they asked the Rasul, what does it mean, al-wahan? He said, حُبُّ الدُّنْيَا وَكَرَاهِيَةُ الْمَوْتِ. We love too much the dunya, and we don't love the akhirah. That's why this is one of the failures, this one of the minuses, this one of the disadvantage, and we have to work as a ummah to bring back the power. Oh, where am I? Okay. This is just to show the Nelson Mandela, South Africa, for one reason, because themselves, they went through the same atrocities, and that's why they value what does it mean justice, and that's why they support Gaza, and they support Palestine, and that's why they sue Israel in the court. So the impact of Gaza at the beginning of every century, now we have to come to the Mubashirat, and what the Rasul told us, that there is in every century, every beginning of a century, every time after 100 years, there is somebody who come and revive the Ummah of Muhammad and put them on the right track. I see that it might be a sheikh, it might be a scholar, it might be Ibn Taymiyyah, it might be Salah ad-Din, it might be anybody in the Muslim Ummah, but I see the Gaza issue is itself, it's replacing this shuyukh and this ulama that they revive the Ummah every cent. And why? Because it's injecting in the Muslim Ummah new engagement. It's injecting in the Muslim Ummah new engagement and a new role in the leadership of the world. So Gaza itself, it comes as awakening to us as a Muslim to tell us, you Muslim, you have a role in the world. Don't humiliate yourself. Don't undermine yourself. You have a role. Your family have a role. Your kids have a role. It's a matter how to organize ourselves and to impact our surrounding and impact the world around us. So the revival of the spiritual ethics, fiqh al-nawazil. So for the last year, you saw in every masjid and every community, they do these things. First of all, when we pray Fajr or Isha, sometimes the sheikh, he do dua for Gaza and for the oppressed and for the. So why? It was always in the time at time of Salah ad-Din, at time of Umar ibn Khattab, at time the Muslim they gather, and all of them they think the same way. All of them, they think about what is happening in the Muslim Ummah. We say the rallies and the protests. We saw the lectures and the seminars. We saw the civic engagement of the Muslim around the world. We see the unity and diversity, in the diversity. So, and we see the new convert to Islam. Just last week, a lady, she came, a young girl, she came here and she wanted to do shahada. We brought the sheikh, we went to the room, and the sheikh, the first thing he asked her, why you want to make shahada? She said, what I see in Gaza, the women and the mothers, because of their steadfastness, they lost kids, they lost their husband, they lost their houses, but they're still saying Alhamdulillah. And this girl, she was impacted, and she came and she said shahada. I witnessed here for the last year, more than 50 people, they made shahada in our masjid. And most of them, when you ask them, why you made shahada, why you want to come to Islam, the only answer and the best answer is they tell you, because we saw what's happening in Gaza, and unbelievable that a lady that she lost 4 or 5 of her kids, and she's still saying Alhamdulillah. That itself, it's impacting the conscience of the world. That itself is changing the mind of the world, and people, they start asking what made them be patient, and then they got the answer by reading the Quran, and then they figure out that they are on the right track, and then they come and they say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Don't worry about the distraction. Worry about how many minds the Muslims are winning, how many hearts the Muslims are winning in the world, how many students in Harvard and MITs they are protesting in front of their universities to say the truth in front of the hegemony of the West. This itself is the beginning of the standing of the Ummah, inshallah, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So distinguishing, come back to tell you, in order for us to be just with ourselves first and to be just with the world, is we have to make sure that, first of all, the Jews, when they were when they were under oppression of Hitler, where they ran away? They ran away to Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia, to North Africa, and they found out that they welcomed them, and they gave them food, and they gave them shelter. And so we have, why the Muslims, they behave that way? Not because they are Jewish, they are not our enemy, because Islam teach us to help the needy, because Islam teach us to help the one who come and ask for help. So we are doing to be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not because he's our enemy. But here we go, we have to differentiate between the people who are killing and doing the atrocities and the people who are themselves, they are victim, which is the Jews themselves, they are victim. One of the brothers, his name is Wallah Khamfar, he has a meeting in Doha with the Jews, and he told them, guys, you are destroying your religion. By letting this guy destroying Gaza, you are destroying your religion. 2 billion Muslim who's going to help you down the road when the Muslim will be strong. So you have to work on yourself as a Jewish to be independent from the Zionist agenda, because the Zionist agenda is going to take you to hellfire of this dunya, if not the hellfire of the akhirah. So we have to understand Al-Quran Al-Karim, he tells us that لَيْسُوا سَوَاء, they are not equal. People, you have to only defend yourself from the people who aggress you. You cannot go and do aggression to somebody else who didn't aggress you. This is the Quran, what is telling us. The Quran is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to understand who are our enemy, and we define our enemy better in order to help the Muslim Ummah to come back. Case of retaliation, self-defense. If the enemy is inclined toward peace, this is the ayat of the Quran, if you're inclined toward peace, make peace with them and put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Indeed, He's alone, He's in the hearing and the all-knowing. The new geopolitics, new vision. So I don't know, many people, they know Muhammad Iqbal. Muhammad Iqbal, in his Al-Shakwa and Jawab Al-Shakwa, he described the Muslim Ummah as somebody who, like a bird, but he lost his wings. So, and he's always trying to fly. So the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, why we are trying to fly again? Why we are trying to position ourselves again as a third alternative because the Sahaba and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they show us the model. So the Sahaba and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they put the energy and they put in our DNA that we have to come back. As a Muslim Ummah, we have to come back. We have to come back and rule the world and be the leader of the world. The only thing is we have to equip ourselves. We have to equip ourselves. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us the victory. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, purposely, He made Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam surrounded with the Sahaba. Why? Because these Sahaba, they deserve to be around Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. الَّذِينَ يُبَيْعُونَكَ تَحْتَ الشَّجَرَةِ. The people who are giving you bay'ah تحت الشجرة, they are selected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So which means what? You deserve it. You deserve to be around Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You deserve to work for Islam. You deserve to be with the Ummah. You have to uplift yourself at the level where you get the deserve from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, in a way or another, بما يكسبون, بما كسبت أيديهم. You have to work hard in order to be selected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to work for the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to uplift the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, the Western hegemony, the outspoken scholar, we already talked about the Khilafah. Many people, they ask, okay, the Muslim Ummah is weak because we don't have a Khalifa. That's true and false. Why? Because the Khalifa is you and me and him and everybody and sister. And so this is the Khilafah. The Khilafah is the network. It's not just a person sitting somewhere and giving orders or ruling the Muslim Ummah. Now we live in a world where the geopolitics and where the technology, it helps for us to understand what's going on. And once we understand our role, so it means you take action. Everybody will take action. I don't need somebody from Indonesia or from Morocco to be together to talk and to put an agenda to help the Muslim. They have to help the Muslim there. We have to help the Muslims here, and we have to uplift the Ummah. It's just you don't need somebody to be a Khalifa. Khalifa is a network, is the Khalifa. So my conclusion is the resistance in Gaza has garnered global sympathy by embodying Islamic and universal virtues such as courage, bravery, determination, sincerity, resilience, and patience. In contrast, the occupation and its allies have betrayed common human value, moral standard, and ethical principle, resorting to lies, misinformation, cowardice, injustice, and atrocities. In this struggle, only deeply rooted and enduring virtues will ultimately prevail. So the message of hope is the enduring virtues of the resistance stand as a beacon of hope against the darkness of oppression and injustice, inspiring humanity to strive for justice, truth, and righteousness. The poet said, كنا أساتذة الدنيا وسادتها ما بالنا اليوم أصبحنا من الخدم عار على أمة دان الوجود لها أن يستبيح حماها خائن الذمم. It's a must on every Muslim to think about how to bring the Muslim Ummah back, how to bring the leadership to the Muslim Ummah, how to unite ourselves. Did you see on the last year people talking about you are from Madhab Hanafi, he's from Maliki, he's from Ikhwan, he's from Tabligh. Did you see that? Why? Why we don't talk? Because we were 100 years, the Muslim Ummah, they spent 100 years in dividing ourselves. Our enemy put in us this ingredient of you are such, you are such, you are black, you are white. Muslim, they don't believe in that. Muslim, they believe in one Ummah. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس. We have one Quran. We have one Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we believe and we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why we are dividing ourselves in madahib and firaq? Why? And Gaza came to tell us, forget about madahib and firaq. Forget about that. Focus on who is your enemy. Focus on how to build the ummah. So that's why we have to uplift our morals. We have to uplift our unity between ourselves. If every community will work on themselves and be united, that itself will help another network somewhere else to work on themselves and to be united, and then the ummah will be united. So don't be distracted about what's happening nowadays. Work on yourself, work on your community, work on your family, uplift and empower each other, and live to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the victory. The victory, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give it, probably not to me, not to you, but He will give it to the people who deserve the victory. All our job is to prepare the floor and to prepare the platform for the victorious generation, inshallah. That's the ones they teach the world about Islam and the virtues of Islam, and how the world will be happy when when the Muslims and the leader of the Muslim will be rulers. I can guarantee you, if Umar ibn Khattab, Abu Bakr Siddiq is the ruler of the world, the superpower this year, none of these wars that are happening in the world. And why? Because the Muslim, they don't do the war for the sake of the war. They don't do the war in order for the factory of the weaponry of the factory of the arms to be sold so they can make money. Muslim, they don't do that. Muslim, they go to every land. We don't name the Muslim occupation. It's a conquest. There's a big difference between conquest and occupation. Conquest is you go and you deliver the message of Islam, and the people see the message of Islam, and they come to the Islam, and then somebody, oppressor, he tried to prevent them. At that time, the Muslim, they go and they defend. Let people be free to decide. And that's the conquest. Which means that you take away the obstacles from the oppressor and from the dictatorship to let people free to decide about going to Islam or not going to Islam. So the Muslim, when they ruled the world, they didn't rule it with oppression. They didn't rule it. They tried their best to be just. They tried their best to give to the community they live in. So that's how Islam was spread in Malaysia and Indonesia and India and North Africa. Yes, there are some struggle here and here, some small wars here and here, not even wars, some kind of, how to say, clashes between some tribes here and here, but that's not the meaning of the Sahaba. The Sahaba, they were having a message that they have to deliver this message, and if anybody comes in between and stop them from delivering the message, they will fight with him, which means that nowadays they name it the democracy. Okay, the democracy is you let people free to decide, right? So that's the only thing. And that's part of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, لَا يُمَكِّنَنَّ لَهُمْ دِينَهُم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised us that our deen is going to be, to have tamkeen. Tamkeen, it means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you the leadership, and all what you are seeing nowadays, suffering of the Muslim Ummah, is to inject in us that you guys, you deserve the leadership, work to be a leader, because the world is lost. The world is lost. If you leave it to the superpower, they will take it away, and they will take it for wars, and they will never come back to peaceful earth. So as a Muslim, we value the human. We value not only the human. Rasulullah, he taught us to value even the trees, to value the birds, to value the animals, to value everything. That's why we should not destroy anything. Even in the war, Abu Bakr Siddiq, he was telling the Sahaba that if you find the old man, don't touch him. If you find a tree, don't cut it. So what kind of virtues, what kind of ethical that Islam is teaching the Sahaba and teaching the Muslim Ummah? That we are not transgressors, we are defending our values and defending our land. That's a big difference. جزاكم الله خير بارك الله فيكم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. If anybody has a question or clarification, please let me know.